Let's freaking go. You know what I always think about? Like people say, you don't need to say anything at all. The proof is in the pudding. You really don't have to say anything at all because the recruiting efforts from this LSU staff, in particular Cortez Hankton and Jamar Kane, is nothing short of in freaking credible. So breathe in, breathe out. You know what we do on this channel? We don't try and overreact. We don't try and go into full panic mode either. But the simple truth remains the same. LSU is an infinitely better recruiting program than what they were just a few weeks ago. But Carter, our recruiting rankings were in the 40s. And here's the thing that a lot of people won't tell you is they can turn the other way very quickly as well. Okay, so I really need my PHL Nation. Rob G has been with me for a while, as has Paris Legacy Dom. Good to see you. We'll talk some QB. We haven't really talked the QB battle so much. It's been mostly recruiting. Goose has been with me for a while. Michael B. Chris, he's P1. LGZ P1. Skipper P1. Gotta love it. And, of course, a normal guy going with the basic LSU logo. Normally you have some type of athlete. And Reggie, fighting the evil C. We are behind you, Reggie. You've got your booger bands. Make sure you wear them every day. Wear them with pride. They will help you in your fight. Love you, Reggie. Now, for me, I look at LSU right now, and I feel as if, obviously, we're trending in the right direction. But the most important thing is to put a good product on the field versus Florida State. Okay? Now, I have been thinking about this for a while. Okay? I really have been. What if we go out there versus Florida State and not win? What if we don't win? What if we don't actually get the job done? I don't think it's the end of the world. I think the more important thing is if you did lose the game, it's how you lost. The issue for me over the past couple of seasons hasn't been LSU losing. It's how we've lost. The pure ineptitude at the top. And I think Brian Kelly, let's be honest, a lot of this recruiting is him, but recruiting is a lot more than just him. So for those that don't know a whole lot about how recruiting actually works, yes, the head coach has to lead the way, but the recruiting staff does the other half of it, and sometimes even more of it. So I'm about to list a bunch of names that deserve a lot of love. Sherman Wilson, Jordan Arsenault, come on, the recruiting coordinator. I just followed her on Twitter. Shelly, I just drew a blank. They deserve a lot of credit. John Randall Belton, who was a holdover from the last staff. A lot of those guys and gals that actually do a lot of the recruiting grunt work, such as the tours of the dorms, the phone calls, the text, the ability to set everything up, organizing everything. They deserve a lot of credit for what's happened over the past couple of weeks, and I wanted to show them some love early on here. So, but the bottom line still remains the same. So much of what is going to happen to LSU football is going to come down to how we actually look this next year, right? I still think a bunch of these commits are going to sign, but at the same time, you do need to put a decent product on the field. Look, we got a few patrons jumping in. What's up, Danny girl? Good to see you. Kobe, tell Jacobian I said hello. Doug, good to see you. Yeah, we don't do that. Okay. Mick, good to see you as well. Danny says, I'm going to be honest. I won't like it, but if we lose, I'm giving myself a little bit of a grace period, as you should. Think long term instead of short term. Honestly, think long term instead of short term. Florida State's not going to be bad, right? One of their best players is from Louisiana, Ja'Kai Douglas. Very talented receiver. So we shall see what happens. Now, West Weeks is obviously in the title of the video. We did a West Weeks film study. We dropped it at 6. And I didn't drop it during the breaking news because I did go to 2 funerals today, one of which was Haley's grandmother. Obviously, it's been a tough year for me personally. I appreciate you guys sending me messages, checking in. Obviously, we lost King Robert, big part of our channel. He was a lot of our channel, honestly. And I lost my running coach earlier this year. It's been tough. So, I apologize for pushing it back 10 minutes. Haley needed me to run an errand, and I'm going to do it, especially during this time. So thank you guys so much for being there for me. My mind might be a little bit scrambled today. So I'm sorry about the West Weeks film study not being released when the news actually broke. So if you want to check it out, it's on my page. You can see it. Who that dude? Good to see you. I do feel this is true as well, especially considering, Danny, that the next couple of games, it's amazing. I lost like 10 viewers because I went on that little spiel. You don't care about me. I'm kidding. But yes, thank you guys so much for having my back. I'm going to need you tonight. I feel like the FSU game is a must-win to set the stage and shift momentum in this transition. I agree. This is a good question. This honestly is a good comment here from Paris. Okay. Now, can we be honest about Brad Davis' development and recruiting? Need to see something this year. Great question. So, as always, if you guys have a question, as many of you know, as the streams go on, more people begin to join in. That's obviously a good thing. But if you want your question answered immediately, Venmo, Cash App, Super Chat, it obviously helps me out a great deal, helps me grow the channel, and you can check out our new Patreon page, patreon.com/LSU football. I do want to discuss this really quickly, okay? Let's talk about Brad Davis, and let's have an honest conversation. I like Brad a lot. I'm always going to cheer for guys from Baton Rouge that get the opportunity to coach at LSU, okay? But this is the truth, okay? Cortez Hankton came in and landed our first out-of-state 5-star receiver since a gazillion years ago. Terrence Tolliver in 2008. Jamar Cain has legit put together the best recruiting weekend you will ever see at one position. Like, I know Ohio State's receiver commitments this year have been insane. They were just boom, boom, boom. But for LSU, we've never seen defensive line recruiting like that. And that's not to say we're not going to get more defensive linemen. Amari Washington could be on the way. A lot of different names could be on the way. Nicholas Harbor. That's a dream. But Jamar Cain has put out results. Both of those guys make a lot of money. A lot of money. Like an obscene amount of money for a position coach. And guess what? They've delivered. They have delivered. Now, obviously, Sheldon Sampson's recruitment is bigger than Cortez Hankton because of the local nature of this recruitment, because of how big Shelton Sampson is in Louisiana already. And you give Shelton, you give the Jaylen Brown commitment, most of that credit should go to Cortez Hankton, Carter Sheridan, and those guys. But obviously, Shelton Sampson's a pretty big fish who a lot of schools are going to go after. Okay? But the truth here is Brad Davis's offensive line class last year was really good. Okay? I think Emory Jones is special. I have him as my number 1 rated player in Louisiana last year. I think Will Campbell is obviously going to be really good. And then Bo Bordelon. Now, a lot of those guys are in-state. Also, Baller Girl, thank you so much. Looking for those $5 matches tonight. Let's go. Who's going to match? Baller Girl, you get to pick the next topic. Feel free to pick whichever question you want out there. But obviously, all those guys were Louisiana guys. Now, Will Campbell had a really good relationship with Brad Davis, as did Emory Jones, because Emory Jones in particular had Arkansas as a finalist, and Brad Davis, of course, was recruiting him there before he came over here. But does Brad Davis need to land an out-of-state offensive lineman to prove himself to like all these other new coaches who have had all these shiny new recruits that have come in? The answer to that is no. Number one, because Tyree Adams and Zalance Hurd is in your own state, and they are very talented offensive line prospects. Number two, Brian Kelly is going to do some good offensive line recruiting as well because of his repertoire as an offensive line recruiter. And number three, Brad Davis, I think the most important thing that he does is put out the best offensive line we possibly can next year. And I will say this, as someone who watches every second of every play of every game, a lot of the times we do film studies of almost every play on this channel. There was a huge improvement from the offensive line in 2020 to 2021. Now, a lot of those guys came back. Could it just be that those guys became better players as they got older? Yeah. But I will say this, in 2020, the blitz pickup was way worse than what it was in 2021. Now, this is something that is just unacceptable, though, is last year we continuously had issues at three positions on the offensive line: left tackle, center, right guard. Our left guard was really good at Ingram. Now, he had some lows. He was really good. Right tackle was really good with Austin Deculus. But the other three positions, we just didn't really see a lot of consistency there. Can we find those guys? Can we develop those guys? That's going to be the more important thing. Like, for me, an offensive line coach's job has more to do with getting those guys ready to go, because it is such an important position to get right. I'm not saying all the other positions aren't important to get right, but that is such a cohesive position where if you have a weak link, it is going to be a sore thumb for an entire season. So here we go. We go to the super chat here. Baller Girl. There we go. We get to the poll question here. And we'll go ahead and end this poll question. Favorite PHL saying? Let's go. I didn't think let's go was going to win by that much. All right, Baller Girl, you're getting the first poll question for yourself. Let me phrase this correctly. Trey Bradford finishes. Let me. All right, Baller Girl, let me put the poll question like that, because I think everybody thinks John Emery's going to be the guy. But do I think Trey Bradford can be the RB1? I do. Simply because, not necessarily because of Trey Bradford's own talent, He does have a lot of talent. It's just that there's not a bona fide proven stud that's ahead of him. Now, we just had RB week last week, Baller Girl. If you're a super duper running back fan, you might have seen those videos. But for anyone listening, we had Charles freaking Alexander on the channel, which is obviously really cool. It is interesting because Leonard Fournette did tweet out his top 5 running back list of all time. He said it was K. Feezy, Kevin Falk, Clyde, Geis, him, and Hill, which I kind of sort of agree with if you just do modern era. If you do post-2003 era, swap out Fournette swap out K. Feezy for Hester or Die, and that's fine. Or Charles Scott. Now, obviously, vintage, it changes, right? Charles Alexander is definitely in the list if it's vintage. That would be like pre-80s. That would be, or like pre-90s. That would be, obviously, Hilliard. Let's just do pre-2000. Pre-2000 would be Kev Falk, Billy Cannon, Alexander, Hilliard, and probably Cecil Collins, right? But anyway, Trey Bradford can be the RB1. Thank you so much, Vernon. I won't say those words aloud, but I love you, man. I love the Auburn stuff you I've put together. Very interested to talk about some Auburn a little bit later. Thank you so much, Vernon, for the super chat. I appreciate you. But yeah, I do think Trey Bradford can be RB1 because the position's not established. I also don't think any of those running backs are going to make Fournette's all-time greatest list, if that makes sense, right? It's hard to be special at this position. For running back week, I watched as many running back games as I possibly can. Watch highlight tapes of Hester, all these guys. I tried to watch as much as I possibly could. It's really hard to be special at this position. Really hard. A lot of it is luck, injury luck. A lot of it is the ability just to make another grown man miss. The ability to intimidate another grown man. A lot of it's determination, right? Because if you get hit hard once by a Division I athlete, some people's life priorities do begin to reorder itself. Got to be fearless to play this position. And for me, when it comes to special running backs, there's just not many of them. So that actually helps Trey Bradford out. I know we look at John Emery's recruiting ranking and think 5-star and like 5-star ability. I think his floor is really high because of a lot of the stuff we talked about during running back week, such as the running backs that stay 4 years always have a really high floor. The running backs that have a certain recruiting ranking that weigh a certain amount all have super high floors. So John Emery's going to be decent. The question is, will he be special? I don't know if he's going to be special. It's hard. It's really hard. Not many people can do it. And we've been a little bit more spoiled than most. Like, you know, you look at some of the other SEC schools. Take Auburn, for instance. Auburn's had really good backs, right? Ben Tate, Trey Mason, Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown, right? And that list goes on and on. But then again, Auburn had one of the best running back play callers of all time in Gus Malzahn running their offense. So of those backs, Ontario McCaleb, right? I don't know how many of those backs were special. Like I can have and I won't spend too much time. I did get an Auburn super chat. I can make a strong case that Michael Dyer's peak was as good as anyone. I'm serious. Michael Dyer was special, but he was playing with Cam Newton. So a lot of these Auburn running backs were good. How many of them were truly special? Obviously Bo, but that's, you know, once again, that's vintage. I don't know. I don't know how many of them were truly special. Like if you think post 2000, obviously kind of like Ronnie Brown, they were special with the Wildcat offense. And then you get to all these other SEC programs. Obviously Georgia and Alabama have had a ton. They get the best backs every year. Give them that. But the truth is, just focusing on LSU here, LSU just like there's no bona fide stud. And I cannot say this enough. It's hard to break tackles. I've talked about this with Jeremy Hill at length. I've gotten to get to know Jay Hill very well. And, when I got to see him a few weeks ago, we talked about that. There's not many people that can make guys miss, right? Go play a pickup football game just with your friends and try your best in a condensed field with 20 other people running all at once to stay on your feet for more than 5 yards. It's extremely hard. There are a lot of factors that go into it. It could be mediocre athletes. You could be doing this against, you could be in your athletic prime and doing this against like 8th and 9th graders. It's hard. It's really hard to make people miss. Oh, Rondale Mealy love? I got some Rondale Mealy cards, Abby. Look, I actually have an autographed Rondale Mealy card. Abby, if you join the PHL T-shirt club tonight, I'll hook you up with it. It's yours. I do have a singular Rondale Mealy card. It's hard to find his autos. We got Danny and Chris going back at it. I'm sorry, I was answering a super chat. Let me see if I could be the mediator. Okay. Yeah, and it was funny, Michael, like, to finish up the Trey Bradford thing. 2 baller girls super chat point. It could come out of nowhere. Like, I don't think anyone thought Clyde would enter transcendency, right? Like, right when Jay Hill started getting touches, we're like, okay, this guy's special. Same thing with Fournette, same thing with Geis. You kind of knew. Kev Falk, you kind of knew. Sometimes you could, take a massive leap forward. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you could take a unbelievable jump. Now, Clyde's is probably, you can make a case that Clyde's was as big as Burrow's, right? Considering Clyde got first-round draft capital, his film was so good, Patrick Mahomes wanted him to be drafted in the first round. Kind of crazy how much that Clyde pick changed the history of the NFL. Could you imagine if the Chiefs took T. Higgins instead of Clyde? It's crazy to think about, right? I don't know if the Chiefs even had T on their board, but it's interesting. What if they take Jonathan Taylor instead of Clyde? That's how much that changed. And I still think Clyde has a decent shot in that offense this year. Ronald Jones isn't much of a pass catcher, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Jerry Stovall's another great vintage back who was actually the running backs coach for Charles Alexander. I left out Jerry Stovall. Thanks for holding me accountable there. But let me answer this. It's okay. It's fine if there's some intense discourse about the offensive line. We're obviously very passionate about it. So, yeah, back to the Brad Davis thing. Paris, you see what you started? I will say this, okay? We don't know what happened, like, behind closed doors last year totally. Okay? We don't. I do think last year's coaching staff was one of the worst assembled coaching staffs I've ever seen. There were a lot of very weird fits, okay? And we mostly just talk about the OC and DC, right? Obviously, Durante turned it on at the end of the year. And then obviously Jake Peets and DJ Mangus, the first, second, and third down thing, it was bad. But what was really interesting was the assistant coaches, right? You had Blake Baker, who honestly probably had one of the best seasons a linebacker coach ever had, right? Like, I mean, he really did a good job making Damone Clark who he is now. And obviously what he did with Micah Baskerville took a huge step up. And Mike Jones, we finally started playing Mike Jones. I don't know who made that call, but I don't know. I don't think it was Baker. But the truth is that staff was so weird, right? There were so many weird things about the staff. Our schemes were so stale that we never really changed them. So the hard part of evaluating that is it's hard for us to quantify how much of what went wrong last year was Ed Orgeron. And I would say probably 90% of it was, right? If your head coach, and last year was a good example, if your head coach isn't where he needs to be mentally, your whole thing is going to fall apart. So in Brad Davis's defense, he makes a life-changing move, probably his dream offensive line job, to coach LSU in Baton Rouge, where he's from. Left his mentor in Sam Pittman. So this was his first year, I believe, without Pittman. And he was alone. Like, the head coach wasn't an offensive line specialist. The play callers hadn't really ever coached offensive line. It's tough. It's tough, especially considering he had very little time to work with a unit that was already established. Then something that didn't make any sense to me, especially when I looked at 3-star defensive line data, is we never tried Joseph Evans on the offensive line. I don't know why we forced him on the defensive line when he was a marginal defensive lineman at best. There's a lot of things that I have questions about as far as the offensive line is concerned. But now everything changes. Mike Dimbrock, heard him in an interview this weekend with on Friday with T-Bob and Jacob, saying, look, we got to build our offensive line first. We got to get physical first before we do anything else. Then you bring in Brian Kelly. Then you bring in, obviously, Brad Davis in year 2 with his experience with Sam Pittman, who is the best offensive line coach as a head coach in the SEC. You can argue Brian Kelly now as well. So now Brad Davis has no excuses, right? I know he's got a lot of players he's got to replace, but it's year 2. A lot of these guys that you've been coaching have returned. Haven't really seen any of the offensive linemen enter the portal. Marcus Dumerville sticked around. Cardell Thomas sticked around. It's interesting. Marlon Martinez, Xavier Hill stuck around. And those are guys that would get certain playing time. And he gets these 2 guys from the transfer portal in Shorts and Frazier, who are probably going to be your starting guards next year. Now, he gets Will Campbell. Looks like the best true freshman offensive lineman we've had in a while. We'll see what happens. Now, how much of last year was Brad Davis's fault with their offensive linemen being so hot and cold? I don't know. Who actually made the decision that we needed to start running counter more? Well, some people say it was Jack Marucci. Some people say it was Jake Peets, the actual play caller. I don't know. But even all the coaches that went on to new jobs, I'm going to give them a pass for this reason. If your head coach is off the rails, and I love Ed Orgeron to death, you can't really do anything. You just can't. You can't. You can have the best staff. You can have the best support system. It's why sometimes I think, people get on head coaches for how much money the head coach makes. Sometimes the head coach is underpaid. Nick Saban's underpaid. I don't care what you say. Well, he makes 12, 13, 14 million. He should be making no less than 20 million a year. No less. That's how important he is to the whole operation. Martinez for center. Hey, Damian. But yeah, I understand that there's, some back and forth about Brad Davis. If he gets a good unit together for year 2, he's worth the $850,000 he makes a year. Tommy! Garrett Dellinger also comes back. Nurse Court, good to see you. Yeah, no attacking people for opinions. Y'all calm down. What's up, Jared? It's okay. We're all on the same team here. Huh? I do think Brad Davis is really good. I do. Here's why. Because last year, or in 2020, we had guys running unblocked through the A gap a lot. That's on the offensive line coach. Now, why is that on the offensive line coach? Because that's rudimentary. You block the A gap first when it comes to blitzing. You can't have unblocked A gap pressure. Very common knowledge. The more interior the gap, the more important it is to block when it comes to blitzers or protections, right? If you want someone coming unblocked off the edge, you want them to be coming from the outside. Now, that's obviously a very simple compliment. It's a very simple explanation. There's obviously slide protection, man-to-man protection. Run blocking is different. There's counter, pulling, duo, all these different things. The more important thing, though, is in pass protection, don't let unblocked A-gap pressure get through. It's the worst kind of pressure to give up, right down the gutter. Okay? That constantly happened in 2020 with true freshman quarterbacks. We got better last year in that area. What's up, Ben? Good to see you. It is true. That's not what he was saying. He was just, making a statement about how important the head coach is to your program. All right, Jared, you get to pick the next topic. Let's talk about Danny's favorite position, center. I don't know that Dellinger is a lock. I don't know. I've never seen Dellinger snap. I do. Let me be careful what I say. I have heard that they have seen him snap. Maybe that's bad information. I don't know. I've heard. I don't know if he's a center. I don't. It's tough. Center's hard. But yeah. Center's really hard. Among Us, welcome to the channel. Why is your hair like that? Wait, what's wrong with my hair? Is there something wrong? Is there something going on? I'm so self-conscious of my image. Ain't that true? I'm always going to defend Liam. It's not his fault that we didn't have a backup option. Here you go, Jordan. At a B-Day party. I love it. I like that Jordan had to let everyone know that me, a lame-o, and by the way, I am missing out on a pool party to do this live stream. Pool party. But this is my number one obligation. But Jordan's like, Carter, you're a lame-o. Just sitting there while I'm at a B-Day party. Just dropped in to smash the like button. Jordan, here's the thing. If you send me a photo of you in your PHL shirt at a birthday party, this is the law when it comes to PHL shirts. Some of you have both of them. If you go to a birthday party, you got to wear your PHL shirt. I don't care if it's a Rager. I don't care if it's your own birthday. I don't care if it's a 3-year-old's birthday. You better have your PHL t-shirt on at birthdays. That is a partying shirt. And then it is a socializing shirt because people will see you're an LSU football fan. And then the next thing they'll see is Oh, look at you looking suave in that PHL shirt. Scotty Mack, it's been a while since I've seen you, Scott. Of course, got to say this. I got to say it. The grandson of Charlie Mack is in the chat right now. Thank you so much, Scott, for your obviously very generous donation. And I want to shout out Scott. I sent him a bunch of cards, and he sent me obviously some really cool photos of his lineage. That's really cool. And once again, if you are joining in, we are over 100 right now. Before I answer Scott's super chat, we want you to join our Patreon community. Danny and I were chatting earlier in the Patreon, along with Rob, along with Jared, along with a lot of you, Caucus. We are growing, right? I think we're at 11-ish patrons. So go on ahead, join in, and you could chat with me whenever. It's a big old group chat, and you're going to get extra film studies, how I actually break down film. I'm actually going to do some things that I've learned over the years. Now, I am not Ted Wynn. I'm not Bill Belichick. And Ted Wynn, of course, is the best film study guy right through The Athletic. I'm not Brian Baldinger. I do my hardest, so to learn when I can learn. For me, being a player in high school to, doing the media stuff. So we're going to do a lot of that there, because I do get that question a lot. How do you do this? How do you see this stuff? But yeah, Carter, I'm expecting big things from this coaching staff. They might be the best assembly of coaches since the Saban days. Okay, so this, especially knowing you, Scott, like you have knowledge of how a coaching staff actually works because of who you know, right? No, Danny, it's all good. Like, Big Al, good to see you. Dexco, good to see you. So I guess I didn't like this guy. Among Us. Trolls, gotta love it. The best assembly of coaches since the Saban days. I agree. Okay. But they've not coached a game yet. Doesn't change this statement, because this is the best statement. This is a true statement. Now, I mean, they may turn out to be the worst. Okay. But let's actually break this down. Is Brian Kelly the best head coach at LSU since Nick Saban? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Is Brian Kelly the best coach at LSU since Nick Saban? Head coach. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Old vet, good to see you. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Start with that. Okay. Minnesota Steve. Send me that check, baby. I got your shirts right here, man. I got the shirt for you and the wifey. Say hi to Cameron. Everyone say hi to Cameron. Everyone welcome Cameron here. Okay. We got a nice fish. Can someone tell me about this fish that Cameron has in his hand? Is this a good fish, bad fish? I don't know anything about fishing. Okay. So Doug says, okay, this isn't even a question. Okay. Largemouth bass. It is a good. Everyone, before I continue, everyone welcome Cameron. I want Cameron to feel welcome here. Good to see you, my friend. I'd love to go fishing. Hey, it's okay, Minnesota Steve. Just send that thing. Once I get it, I'll ship your shirts out, man. Okay. So it's an undeniable fact that has a better track record than Les and Ed. Okay. So yes, it is true. Now, as far as the rest of the staff is concerned, let's start with, to me, the best coach on the staff, and that's Jamar Cain. based on, the media stuff that I've done over the years, you do meet people that are insiders at other schools, right? So what I've learned is I reached out to an Oklahoma insider, and he said Carter Jamar Cain's the best coach Lincoln Riley ever had. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your rear end. Just going to let you know the guy's the best. Well, he's proven it, in the recruiting trail. We'll see how the unit works next year. Okay. Now, defensive back coaches, we'll see. You're replacing Corey Raymond with Kerry Cooks, who's had some success. And obviously, we'll see what happens with Robert Steeples. And then, of course, to me, the biggest wild card is Matt House. Not been in D.C. since 2018. He's been in the NFL. And we'll see how it goes. I'm obviously really high on Matt House. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Offensively, though, it's kind of hard to disagree. Brad Davis, learn from Sam Pittman. We'll see how he does in year 2. Obviously, Brad Davis spurred some good spirited debate tonight. Wide receiver coach Cortez Hankton, fresh off a national championship from the New Orleans area. Obviously, a home run hire up to this point, getting the wide receiver 5-star in Jaylen Brown. Running backs coach, obviously the best running backs coach ever at LSU, Frank Wilson. And then Mike Denbrock. You saw what he did at Cincinnati. It was a little unconventional. It was a little bit different. We'll see what he can do next year. So, Scott, to answer your question, on paper, this is LSU's best coaching staff since the Saban years. And I would say 80% of this answer has to deal with the head coach. Okay? And then, of course, you have Joe Sloan, the quarterback's coach. We'll see what happens. Obviously, recruiting, he's gotten a lot of good buzz. And thank you, Scott, for your generous donation. Feel free to shoot me an email at any time. Okay? Minnesota, I hope life is going great. Big Al, good to see you again. So it is without a question that the best, Tracy, good to see you. It is without question that is the best head coach. Now, Coach Napoleon, special teams coordinator, I'll say this. This is an undeniable fact. Greg McMahon was a really good special teams coordinator. He is a guy who has the least amount of blame out of anybody on the staff. Greg McMahon was really good at LSU. Recruiting, everything. I don't think he could have coached a position any better, if we're being quite honest. Trey Palmer is one of the best returners we've ever had. Our blocking on return units were really good. Obviously, ZVR, Cade York. We were just really good on special teams. Now, hopefully, Napoleon continues that. I think he will. Obviously, a PHL favorite. If we were to list our favorite players on the current team, obviously, our 2 favorites are going to be Jack Besh and Slade Roy because they joined our channel. So, if you are a LSU player and want to join the channel, come right on. I'm looking at you, Kayshawn. I know Kayshawn wants to jump on Power Hour LSU. I know it. I've got a Kayshawn signed Funko Pop back here. I would love Kayshawn to jump on the channel. Now, Van, I knew you'd jump in. I could get into a long debate about Matt Canada. Matt Canada was good at LSU. That was actually a good firing, though, by Ed Orgeron, because if the head coach and the OC don't get along, you've got to break that off as quickly as possible. And the move to Steve Ensminger was the right move. Okay? Give Orgeron a lot of credit. When it comes to offensive coaches, early, he actually did good, right? Steve Ensminger as the interim in 2016 was really good. Okay? 2017, Matt Canada jumped in. Matt Canada was fine. You have Danny Antley as your quarterback. You got to get really creative. You look at some of the games that we played that year. We played some very weird games. Tennessee game was the weirdest weathered game probably ever at LSU. Matt Canada was a big reason why we scored any points in that game. Very creative play calling in that game. So for me, I think Matt Canada was fine. I think so. Like, take Mike Tomlin, for instance. Okay? One of the best coaches in the NFL. hired Matt Canada to be his OC. Saw what Matt Canada did at Maryland. It was actually fine. So I'm not here to say Canada was great. He wasn't great, but he was fine. He was fine with what he had to work with. That's a Bradley Dale Pivito love. That's a good point right here. TM7. It's really high on Madhouse. I'm down for a I'm down for a Madhouse story. Caucus, one of our many new patrons. Don't forget, patreon.com/LSU football. Okay. Yeah, Kyle, I had this sent to me earlier today. And the only evidence I've seen of this is a random Twitter DM to somebody else on Twitter. Okay. Nothing substantial of substance. Okay. Now, this is what happens with Twitter. Okay. And Instagram now. And I was victim of this recently. There is a story about a player on LSU transferring last week. And the story was posted on this player's personal Instagram page, which was followed by former players of LSU. So you can go to this player's page, official Micah Baskerville, and you can see he is followed by a bunch of current players. And there's a lot of personal photos of Micah Baskerville on this fake Instagram account. He is not the first. Like, I could see someone doing a fake Kayshawn account, but not Micah Baskerville. It's a fake account. There's a troll out there who decided to make a Micah Baskerville account. He's been making it for 3 years. And there are former players commenting under Micah Baskerville's page. I was duped. I was like, okay, this is for sure. But it wasn't. Micah Baskerville has an official account with the blue check mark. And I reached out, said it wasn't true. Then Micah Baskerville tweeted out himself, hey, it's fake news. It's crazy. Always be skeptical of every story that feels too good to be true. Okay? And I feel like I have a pretty high BS meter because I'm not a newsbreaker, right? You can get fooled. So always be very skeptical. Now, could this have happened that Brian Kelly said this to this player? It very well could have. But also, there is a history of LSU coaches telling wide receivers or different positions that they are tight ends. Obviously, Dak Prescott. That sounds kind of made up to me. It really does. But it is what it is. But always be skeptical of any news story. Always. Like, here's something that's happening right now, and I think you guys would be interested in this. And I am challenging, and Leon, I think you're familiar with this as well. Okay. So, Leon, this is true. Okay. Obviously, Leon joined our channel and our community a few weeks ago, honestly. It was like a week and a half before the Jaylen Brown stuff even happened, right? But there has been a lot of back and forth between LSU and Miami fans. And this is the most fascinating thing to me, right? And this could be the juiciest story we talk about tonight. There's a lot of Jaylen Brown slander coming from Miami fans right now. A lot. Saying, hey, he goes to these 7-on-7 camps and he doesn't dominate. Hey, he can only, do so much. He's undersized. He doesn't have that dog in him. He plays at a private school, so on and so on and so on. So all I've asked Miami fans to do is send me footage, send me videos, send me articles of or podcast or anything of proof that Jaylen Brown does not produce at 7-on-7 camps. Okay. Are there any write-ups? Because, there's hundreds of reporters that are at this thing. Okay. Now, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can. Are there some players from Louisiana that don't pick LSU that I don't have high evaluations of? Yes. And there might be a lot of Miami fans that are skeptical of Jaylen Brown. I'll tell you this, okay? More than likely, I'm going to drop a Jaylen Brown film study tomorrow night. More than likely, okay? And I'm going to do some extra stuff on him on the Patreon, right? I will share this. There was an independent evaluator that I trust a lot who works in the fantasy football community. And I understand he's not like an actual scout. He's not like an actual coach. But in these fantasy leagues where, they do like this thing called Devy. Like Devy is short for like Dynasty College Fantasy Football. They evaluate high school prospects because sometimes before their true freshman seasons, they can get drafted on a dynasty roster. So you can have the opportunity to draft either Shelton Sampson or Jaylen Brown or Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning or whatever. So there's a lot of people that take this very seriously. And there is someone that I trust that does not like Jaylen Brown as a prospect. And I asked him, I was like, why? And he said, because he only runs nines. But my pushback was, well, in high school, if you get behind corners every single time, why are you running any other time, any other type of routes? And that is how I feel about Jaylen Brown. Is there going to be, a transition? Yeah. Kayshawn had a rough transition early in his true freshman season, and he ended up being one of the best true freshman wide receivers you'll ever see. There's always a transition. I just found it very interesting that a lot of this commentary from Miami fans just came out the same day that the On3 prediction machine and the Fong bomb dropped towards LSU. I just found it out. Yeah, I've seen Coach Hayes before. I have. I try not to watch him because, I do my own film breakdowns and I have my own evaluation. But yeah, Coach Hayes, he's a cool dude. I didn't know he was a Canes fan, though. I really didn't. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm sure he's probably did a Jaylen Brown breakdown. I don't want to watch it because, and once again, I want to see it for myself. But I've already watched Jaylen Brown. I've already had my full evaluation. I've actually already started the film study on him. So I guess I can go watch it, I guess. But yeah, shout out to Coach Hayes. Shout out to all the YouTubers out there. But yeah, Jaylen Brown's a really good football player. And there's going to be a lot that he's going to have to change. Obviously, you look at some of the other great LSU wide receivers that were a little bit lighter. Odell Beckham was 170 coming in. Now he's at 190, 195, 200. Same thing for Kayshawn. So Jaylen Brown's probably going to put on some weight, add to his frame. I'm also interested, and I haven't looked this up just yet, but we talked about this with Kyle Parker. Kyle Parker is a younger player, okay? Kyle Parker is younger. So if you're younger, that means theoretically you have more time to actually grow and mature. And I shared this in my Kyle Parker breakdown. Two other receivers that were younger when they came into LSU, Justin Jefferson, DJ Chark. Okay? They were also 3-star recruits. So, it's very important to keep that in mind. Not all players are the same age whenever they jump in to the LSU world. we also need to factor in that so much changes from when you're in high school to when you're in college, right? Different players are coached differently. Just the truth. Your body changes. Here's a good example of this. Okay. Take two players that were really good, Mason Smith, Will Campbell. All right. We haven't seen Will Campbell play snap. We'll see how he does next year. But he changed his body. He took his craft very serious. He was an early enrollee, and he changed his body, and he was ready to go. Same thing for Mason Smith. Went on a very strict diet to get his body where he wanted to get. And if you look at Mason, it's not sloppy. He is not sloppy at all. He is very put together, right? A lot of it comes down to how bad you want it and how much you're willing to listen to the dietitians, the strength staff, and honestly, how much you want to take your game to the next level. So yeah, it's very key. Very, very key. And yeah, here's the thing. I would love to see the Jaylen Brown getting dominated in 7-on-7 clips. Or if there's anybody out there that can give me that information. Okay? If anyone out there can tell me, let me know. Now, we are an hour in. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Once again, we will get to your super chat next. We want you to join the PHL Patreon. Good to have Tracy and Tommy back in here. I have a feeling we're going to get, after I post this right here, I have a feeling we're about to get 3 more patrons. I think tonight we're getting 3 more patrons. Chat room's getting better and better every day. Rob G joined the chat room. Mo Funky joined the chat room. All right, Shane, good to see you. I think one of our newbies, Shane was a former newbie a week ago. Brian Kelly to go. Good to see you. What do we see different between spring practice and training camp? Not a whole lot. I mean, obviously, when you get closer to the game, you start putting more install in. I want LSU to play Miami so bad. Lou, good to see you. Lou's always stunting in his photo, man. Look at you, Lou. Goodness gracious, man. I could just, man, look at you. I wish I was as handsome as you, man. Look, you got the gold watch. Man, goodness gracious. Let's see. Big Al. I promise you, I never thought someone had so much time in their hands that they said, hey, you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do? We are going to make a fake Micah Baskerville account. Who said that is just the most random thing? And it made me go, is this really a fake account? Like, that is just so crazy to me. Like, I just didn't think that somebody Cameron, I know you're a newbie. Ask your question again. You asked something a minute ago. I want you to feel great about your life. Okay. Do you view any of our in-state guys as must-gets? If so, who? Shane, you're kind of newish. Also show some love to Shane. Really quickly, though, Shane. Got to show some love to PHL T-shirt club member Leslie. Leslie, your shirt is en route. If it makes you feel any better, Leslie, I shipped your shirt out the same day I shipped Charles Alexander's PHL shirt out. Charles Alexander's about to be a PHL T-shirt club member. All right, Shane, let's talk about this because I know you're newer and we got a bunch of new viewers in. That's obviously really good. Okay, there's no such thing as a must-get recruit. It's a term that's used in recruiting. No player is a must-get because if you say that player is a must-get, then that means you absolutely have to have him or else you're not going to win. Okay? But Carter, Joe Burrow was a must-get. True, but if he was such a must-get, then we would have needed to say that at the time, right? We would have needed to say, hey, this guy is 1,000% going to turn us into the best offense that college football has ever seen. The bottom line is you can't predict that, okay? Now, there are guys that are bigger needs per se, and, needs is used lightly. And that list is as followed. Shelton Sampson's a Lance Hurd. Okay. I know that's a basic list. I know I'm supposed to have some superty duperty 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 duperty. I know we have to sleeper. Okay. But sometimes the high school 247 evaluators have it right. Right now they have it right. I have not seen a guy that is truly someone that's way lower rated. Now, once again, I'm still going through it as much as I possibly can. And I normally like to wait until senior film to 1,000% to say it. The hard part about that, though, is college coaches don't always have that luxury to have senior film to recruit a guy because that might be too late. So here's a good example of this, Shane. And I know we touched on this, in the last live stream. I had Xavier Thomas in this last wide receiver cycle on a different tier than everybody else. I was like, okay, I would take this guy over everyone else. Not a popular opinion. That's fine. It's just how I see it. I don't know Xavier Thomas. Don't know anyone really close to him. But I thought he was the best. Aaron Anderson's close. Aaron Anderson was a really good, really good high school receiver at Etna Carr. Even better punt returner, ironically. But Xavier Thomas, to me, was the best player. LSU didn't offer him. Okay? I could be wrong on that. He's going to Mississippi State. But even then, if I was in LSU's, staff room, I would have slammed my hand on the table to say, this guy right here has a really good evaluation from me. Okay? But I would have lived if we didn't go after him because no player is a must get. Now, Shelton Sampson is as close as it can get, right? Because, we only got one wide receiver in the last cycle. Yes, we just got Jaylen Brown, but Sampson 6'4", and I think his floor is Terrence Tolliver. And if you can get a floor Terrence Tolliver play, Terrence Tolliver is a really good winner, won us a lot of games, won us a Tennessee game, won us a Florida game, was the best player offensively in the A&M game. You got to go get him. Now, could you win if you didn't get him? Yeah. So, yeah, if I were to list the most important recruits, it would be Shelton Sampson number 1, Lance Hurd number 2. Okay? So, I want to shout out Leonard right here. Now, I was hoping Leonard would join us this evening. Okay? Bang! There he is. So, you see Leonard's lovely family right here. I actually have a photo of Leonard opening his car. Actually, a video. He sent me a full video. And if you're just joining us, I went to 2 funerals today. And it made my day when I got to watch this video of Leonard's children opening cards that I sent him. And what's very interesting about it is Leonard's kids are also Liverpool fans. So next time, I got to send them some actual Liverpool gear, and I actually have some Liverpool stuff next time. So the kiddos want shirts. We will happily work that out for you. And there you go, Leonard. Good to see you. Okay. Now, I agree, Doug. But here's the thing. That's our evaluation. It may not work out. It may not work out. I view the game differently than how someone else views a prospect. There might be extra factors that we don't know about when it comes to a certain prospect. You never know. You never know. There's so many different factors, especially football. Okay? There we go. Doug, all you got to do, Venmo Cash App me at Carter the Power. The instructions are floating down below. Or you could shoot me a tweet or Instagram message at Power Hour LSU. Or shoot me an email. Okay? No. Dwayne's got 2 shirts. Recruiting has been very good in the last few weeks. Do you believe it will continue or maybe get better, or will it drop off? Well, there's going to be natural regression, right? You're not going to, I mean, you're on an all-time here, right? So for those of you that are poker players, you know about regression, right? But, you sink back to the mean, or if you're a sports gambler, or if you're just, a basketball shooter in your pickup games, if you've been so hot, you're hitting 8 for 10 from outside. You have another game, you hit 3 for 10. Then the next game, you hit 7 for 10, then 6 for 10. At some point, another 3 for 10 is probably on the way. It would also be kind of weird that you took exactly 10 shots in each and every one of those games, but you understand, right? Yeah, there's going to be natural regression. You're not going to hit an infinite amount of like 4 and 5 stars. But I do think, Cameron, the more important thing is that you have a clearer picture and now you have a higher floor. So we can get into recruiting rankings, stars don't matter and all that. What history tells us is you have to have top 5 classes to win national championships, and or you got to have top 10 classes to have a baseline national championship level team, right? So when LSU won a national championship, they were 4, 7, 15, 4, something like that. 5, 7, 15, 4, whatever. In the top 10, you nailed, obviously the biggest transfer of all time. So, yeah. Tari, I love these $5 hot takes. Lamar Jackson, top 3. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Now, I'll tell you who's top 3 in my heart. That is Pressy Collection and PressyCollection.com. Oh, yeah. Pressy Collection, all about the Pressy Collections tied to my heart and my dear beloved's engagement ring. Sitting in the church with my dear beloved earlier, holding her hand. Got to see that ring, baby. PressyCollection.com is a place to go. PressyCollection.com. There you go. Lamar Jackson, top 3. He's not top 3. He's not the best quarterback in this division. You all know who that is. Mason Rudolph. You knew it. You knew it was coming. Is Zalance Hurt a must get in your mind? I think you really close to must get as you possibly can need to get either him or Tyree Adams. I like Hurd a lot. He's my number 3 player in the state. So, yeah. Darren McFadden was a better running back than Leonard Fournette. Okay. So, obviously, I like Leonard Fournette better than Darren McFadden. I do. But this is just a fact. Darren McFadden was better than Leonard Fournette. It's just a fact. Okay. Now, Leonard Fournette was really good. He's probably the best LSU back of the modern era. Darren McFadden was 3 for 3 versus LSU when it comes to having a good game. 2 for 3 when it comes to having a legendary game. And he almost cost us a national championship. Okay. Darren McFadden, 2 runner-up in the Heisman Trophy. Only Reggie Bush really has a case over Darren McFadden in the modern era. The only one that has a case. Okay. And Reggie Bush is better. But when it comes to the SEC, Darren McFadden is without reasonable doubt the best SEC running back since year 2000. Now, what I lose a subscriber or two for that? Yeah. But I'm not here to just pom-pom wave LSU stuff all the time. Now, if you took the top 5 LSU backs versus the top 5 Arkansas backs, the LSU backs would be better than the Arkansas backs. But Darren McFadden, okay. I hate to say it. I don't want to say it, but it's true. I think if you were to ask 10 independent arbiters, college football analysts, every single one of them would say not only Darren McFadden is better than Fournette, he's better than anybody in the SEC in the modern era. And this is true, Chance. Never forget that. I love that. But I also think, like, if Leonard Fournette was sitting right here, he would acknowledge that Darren McFadden was really, really good. Now, Fournette's Fournette. All great athletes are going to think they're the best, right? It's part of why they are the best. It's the attitude. But McFadden was just insane. He was insane. Saying Fournette was as good as Bo Jackson. I'll say this, Cinnaminson, welcome to the channel. Fournette's start to 2015 was as good as anybody, right? His start to 2015 was probably the best, like, beginning of any season you'll ever see, right? You know, you had the Auburn game, you had the Clemson Syracuse game and all that. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was fine to make those comparisons. I think it was. We're just talking SEC. Everyone, welcome Larry to the channel. Larry, good to see you. Patience. I think the Tyree Adams thing could be happening sooner than you think. Zeke at OSU, yeah, you know, he did win the title. He did play his best at the biggest stage, Oregon versus and Alabama. He was amazing. I was at that Sugar Bowl. And clarification, Patrick Mahomes did light us up. Lamar Jackson did not. But then again, Lamar Jackson's college offensive line was just really, really bad. And he just couldn't overcome that when, you know, Jamal Adams, Dante Jackson, and Arden Key are there. So, yeah, we touched on that list a little bit earlier. His was Fournette, CEH, Geis, Hill, Kev Falk. He said he only included backs that was modern era. But yeah, Zeke was a monster. There's just no other way around it. Zeke was a monster. Yeah, Tari, keep throwing those $5 super chats. Let's see here. Look at this really quickly. There we go. I want to get that. All right. No. Let's see here. No Charles Scott on the Fournette list. Yeah, no Charles Scott. Chuck the truck. Yeah, I mean, look, Charles Scott, would I put him? Would I put Charles Scott on my top? No, I couldn't. Top 10 of the modern era. Yeah, he's top 10 of the modern era. So, yeah. Okay, here. Take a look at this right there. All right. The disrespect. Why not Hester? No, Hester's up there too. I mean, post 2000, I think Fournette's better, Hill's better, Geis is better. Clyde's better. And that's about it. I think after that, Hester's probably your number 5 guy right there. You can argue Joe Adai. We just had running back week. So I know we discussed this at length on running back week. But yeah, Hester would be number 5 for me. You make a strong case though for a lot of guys in that 5th spot. You can. I just think, I just think that top 4 is the top 4, and I think Fournette has got to be number 1. I think he's got to be number 1. I think you do. I think he's got to be number 1 of the post 2000. Now, if you go since the 90s, Kev Falk has a really really good argument. Now, this is, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Taking Ware over Geis? Really? Tari, come on. I will say this. I'm going to give Spencer Ware the best compliment you possibly could give. His 16 carries for 29 yards versus Alabama, the last time we beat them before 2019, was the best 29 yards on 16 carries I've ever seen. That dude broke so many tackles, but Alabama just knew we were running it, so they were just ready. He was insane in that game. Like, how physical he was running the football was just insane. He had some wiggle to his step too. It was a load, right? And I think in terms of the word underrated, Stephen Ridley's definitely the most underrated. Like, I think a lot of people remember Charles Scott. I do, simply because, it was a part of a championship team and Charles Scott was just iconic. But Stephen Ridley was really good. The Tennessee run, left side of the offensive line didn't even fire off. Still got it in, right? But, I'm fine. I'm fine with Hester number 5. I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's tough. It's tough. I do think it's those first 4, and then, I think 2 through 4 could be ordered in any way that you want it. I think 1 has got to be 1, and then there's a next chunk. I think that next chunk is, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you're just doing post 2000, Hester. But for me, Hester 5, Adai 6, Scott 7, Ridley 8, TDP 9, Vincent 10. Now, if you're talking about historical importance, as far as if you are a national championship or bust person, I am not a national championship or bust person. But if you are that person, then your order would have to be Clyde, then Vincent, then Hester. Or you can order that 3 any way you want it, because, we're not winning national championships without those 3 guys doing what they did in those national championship campaigns. But I'm not a championship or bust guy. That's just not who I am. The world is more nuanced than that, right? So, it's just not how I view it. But if you wanted to have the, like, yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. Which game was better? Was Fournette versus Auburn in 2015, or was it CEH versus Alabama in 2019? Fournette's was probably more dominant per se, and give him the ball and get out of his way, where, for Clyde, we needed a lot of things to go our way, as far as, like, Joe played one of his best games, Jamar played one of his best games, our offensive line played one of its best games, and Clyde played his arguably the best game a running back has ever played at LSU. And you make a strong case. But Clyde's peak in that game was truly incredible. And to me, it's the most complete game a running back will ever play at LSU. With the catches, the runs, the broken tackles. He actually got robbed of some pretty amazing runs on some bad spots in that game. But yeah, I just think that game for Clyde just catapults him in that top 4. I think that game alone, honestly, because it was the magnitude of that moment in time, the pressure, the decade long, bad games versus Alabama, and it was truly, a sight to behold. you can argue this. You can argue this. I do think the Auburn game was better because that game featured more bug on windshield, hood ornament, run the guy over, carry the guy on your back kind of runs, where he was just catapulting guys across the field because he was running so hard. The Ole Miss game was really good. Now, you'd have to answer, you know, was it the Ole Miss defense? That Auburn defense, Auburn's never really had a bad defense. Yeah, and some of that had to do with Florida's defense being really bad. Harvey Williams is the most underrated running back in LSU history. I could agree with that. Hester, the original 18. I think he would tell you Mock was, but Hester was a good 18. There's 18s before Hester too, right? There was Richard Dixon. Or no, Dixon was after Hester. That's right. Yes, he was after Hester. Still. It's true, Dwayne. It was unreal. It was unreal. I can't wait for the flipping season, Leon. Leon says, "Hey, can we start the Frank Gore Willis McGahee debate?" Oh, Holiday, easily, easily. That's not debatable, huh? 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 But if you want to take him out of that, um, prob probably probably still Fournette. Well, honestly, I mean that's just the weird thing about it. Had some big runs against Clemson too. You're right. Had the run to start the drive before the half. I think that's the best drive in LSU football history. I really do. Yeah, I don't think Holiday was a receiver. I mean, he didn't really catch that many passes. I think he had more carries than he did runs. But then you could get into like, is it Holiday or is it like the fastest? Is it Holiday or is it Xavier Carter or Chris Hilton? Chris Hilton's got some wheels. Clyde Edwards is my favorite LSU running back because he is the guy that made all the key plays of 2019 and also helped LSU. Yeah, the Clemson game, yeah, for sure. Richie, good to see you again. Helicopter. Oh yeah, that's just nuts, man. That's just. I mean, it was legit. The dude just it was a hood ornament, right? He was just carrying the guy, like just mounted on him. I've never seen that. I've still never seen somebody just kind of like jump over him like that. I mean, it's just truly the most spectacular thing. Skylar Green over Holiday any day. I don't know if anyone's going to disagree with you about that. Yeah, I mean, the Georgia catch, legendary. Skyler was a great football player, as was Alfred Blue, but, you know. Well, you and Holiday were the same size, Damien? Y'all ran against each other? That's funny. Huh. Are you talking about, Chris, are you talking about Spencer Ware? It was unreal. It was unreal. I love me some Spencer Ware. But God, love me Leonard Fournette, man. It was kind of crazy. Like when I was putting together like running back week, when I went back and just watched like the Auburn game, my jaw was to the floor. Like I just can't. Like how hard it wasn't. Just like I do think this. I don't think running backs like when running backs run, like you get hit and it, over time those begin to accumulate. I do think the peak Fournette was the Auburn game. And I know those were college players and won the NFL, but like if you just go back and watch, the runs where he didn't score, like he was catapulting guys like 5 yards. It was cartoonish. It was to use a Dragon Ball Z term. He was Super Saiyan. It really felt like that. It felt like you're watching an out of body experience. Now, what's funny was like Ethan Posick had a really big game that game too, but like what he was doing to people was just not fair. It was unlike anything. I've never seen anything like that. I really haven't. I mean, I like I know Derrick Henry was really good. I know like as far as like modern era, I've never seen anyone just dismantle souls like that. So it's Super Saiyan. Any term you want to use it, any superlative, you can use it for Fournette in that game. Because the thing is like Auburn knew where the ball was going. Like Brandon Harris was the quarterback. And, if you're talking about like the greatest games, Fournette played a majority of his career without a threat, like a passing threat. Fournette not only had to play, he had to play with the most hype of any recruit ever, the entire SEC knowing where the football was going, Les Miles in his later years. He had to overcome a lot. Now, he had a good offensive line. We were very lucky to have Garrett Brumfield, Will Clapp, and Ethan Posick, and some really good linemen during that time. We had Maya Tuema, the 5-star true freshman. He was really good when he played. Fournette had some really good linemen, really, really good linemen, and he also had a fullback. But still, I think the harder thing to overcome is the defense knows the ball, where the ball is going. And the funny thing about it was Auburn, it wasn't like, I think part of what made the game so great, it wasn't just the fact that Fournette made these plays. It was that the defense was in position to actually make the play. It wasn't like Fournette was just running through like wide open alleys. He was the alley. He created the separation. It was truly, truly incredible. Summoned by the anime references. Oh, man. Johnny, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Really appreciate you. Johnny, I'm going to shoot you an email after this live stream. Or you could shoot me an email either way. Once again, we want everyone to join our Patreon community, patreon.com/LSU football. You can join our private PHL chat room where I will chat with many of you. So there you go. There's a few running backs I think have gone Super Saiyan in my lifetime. I was at the Derrick Henry Oklahoma game, where as a true freshman, they finally started feeding him the ball, and he started going ham. And I was like, wow. Hey, Bubs.
I'm home. I got the babies.
Well, where's he at?
Hey, Aaron's watching.
Let me see. Aaron who?
Aaron Baxton's husband.
Oh, tell Aaron I said hello.
He was watching. I sent you a photo.
She's going crazy. She's going
crazy.
She's going crazy.
The kids
She's going crazy. She's going crazy. Hey, will you show them your ring real quick?
Okay.
From the Pressy collection?
I got to get Delaney a pair of pajama pants. I'm coming.
Oh, we got pure chaos over here.
Aniston, do you have pajama pants, babe?
Shane, I don't know what's going to happen with that. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, here's a weird thing about this. I think Brian Kelly would not want this tradition to continue. I don't think so. I also think I don't think so. But I also think he needs to let the team to decide what's going to happen. You want to come say hey? You want to come say hey?
Wait, they're changing.
Yeah. Z just pissed all over like everything. Huh? Hit on Ole Miss DB so hard he transferred schools. But Shane, you know, I do think like obviously Keyshawn's going to wear number 7. As far as like the number 18 thing, I think it'll continue. I do. But at the same time, I think Brian Kelly wants to move forward, right? I don't think there was a number tradition at Notre Dame, per se. There's really not that many number traditions. Like, I know Texas A&M, like, number 12 is a thing. At Ole Miss, number 38 is a thing. And numbers get retired, but yeah. $384 yards? I don't think it was 384. I agree with this next go. I do. All right, guys. It's been fun. Here's what we'll do. In the next 5 minutes, I will answer as many questions as we possibly can. It's been a long day. You guys have carried me throughout this live stream tonight. It's been a tough day for me personally. Thank you guys so much. I'm always open what's happening in my personal life. Appreciate you guys so much. And we had a great live stream. In the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many football-related questions as I possibly can. Here's something else that we do in the last 5 minutes of the Super Chats or just the chats in general. If you do Super Chat, though, we'll keep this thing going all night. If you want to keep this thing going until 2 a.m., if Tari keeps dropping $5 Super Chats with hot takes, I'll answer every hot take until 7 in the morning. I honestly will. Now, we will, if you guys ask me a question, that's not football related, I'll answer it as well. We could talk about the best anime series of all time. Dragon Ball Z. And number 2, is Gundam Wing. After that, no other anime series matters. None of them. All of them are not good. It's Gundam Wing, number 2, Dragon Ball Z, number 1. That's it. After that, I could do without anime. It's just true. Now, I know for sure I might get some serious bot activity in my comment section after those statements, but those are the 2 best. Where are my last Airbender defenders? Or is Last Airbender considered anime? Damien's a DBZ fan? Okay. Pierce, I'm great, man. So let's talk about see right here. I'm the one. Good to see you, Unc. So Shannon Sharp took a photo of it with him in a shirt off at like 54, and I'm like, dude, how can you be that shredded at 54? I'm 33 and I have jelly rolls. Will Campbell, Harold Perkins. Well, there you go. I think everybody's answer are those 2 guys. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it's just insane. Mike Jones wouldn't be a bad 18. Top 5 wide receiver. Okay, thank you so much, Damien. Okay, that's pretty easy, honestly. I feel like Jamar and Justin are a little unfair to talk about because, you know, their quarterback play was so much better than every other quarterback that's ever played at LSU. But even then, they've got to be they've got to be in the top 5, right? Like I don't think you can. We can get into the Burrow factor. We can get into, well, Jamar only played, 1 year, but the end of his true freshman season was great too. So I think Jamar and Justin have got to be there. And I think I think Odell's got to be in the top 5 as well. I think Jarvis has got to be in the top 5 there if we're just talking modern era. Now, I know some of our older viewers would say, well, Carter, look, Michael Clayton and those guys played under Nick Saban, and it was 3 yards in a cloud of a dust offense. And those guys didn't get to play in the same type of offense, right? But for me, my top 5 is Jarvis, Odell, Justin, and Jamar. And then number 5 gets complicated. It gets really, really complicated, that number 5 spot, right? I think you would have to go with Dwayne Bowe. I think so. I'm sorry. I think I have to go Dwayne Bowe there. You can make a case for Buster Davis. You can make a case for Terrace Marshall. Terrace definitely has better numbers, probably. And then a guy who deserves a lot more credit than he probably gets would be Ruben Randall, right? Now, the most underrated LSU wide receiver of all time, we did the Stephen Ridley thing, is Terrence Tolliver. I talk about Terrence Tolliver a lot on this channel, okay? We talked about him a lot this week. Our first 5-star out-of-state receiver since Jaylen Brown. Terrence Tolliver was a really freaking good wide receiver who got the worst quarterback luck. There's never been a great wide receiver at LSU that got worse quarterback luck than Terrence Tolliver. Never. You can make a case for Malachi Dupree. He had bad wide receiver luck. You can make a case for Trey Quinn, so on and so on and so on. Terrence Oliver got the short end of the stick, right? I would have preferred, at least Malachi Dupre had the option to stay one more season. Terrence Oliver had true freshman year as like the fifth wide receiver or the fifth option. He had Matt Flynn, who was really good, but that was his true freshman season. Then the final 3 seasons were the Jefferson Lee, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And all he did was produce some of the biggest moments of that post-2000 era. So Terrence Oliver, deep cut. Then it's Ruben Randall. Then after that, you can get into semantics about Dwayne Bowe and then Buster Davis mixed in there as well. You can get into semantics about Dwayne Bowe, Michael Clayton, Josh Reed. Josh Reed's definitely in there as well. We can get into debate about that, and Terrace Marshall for that 5th slot. But I still think it's Odell, Jarvis, Justin, Jamar. I do. I'm staying modern era. There. So now, Johnny with the super chat here. Sent me a Venmo. Thank you so much. Top 5D jack position. Okay, let's do it. Arden Key's number 1. After that, okay, so it kind of gets into, what's a defensive end, what's a defensive tackle. Spears probably is number 2. All right, I would say Arden Key's number 1, Spears is number 2. I've not actually ever done a defensive end list, so trying to put this together in my head. Devery Henderson deserves to be in that modern discussion as well. Okay. Haven't listed the wide receiver list. I have an old article on Bleacher Report where I listed the top 10. You can Google Carter Bryant Bleacher Report and you could probably find it. Yeah, Devery Henderson, he deserves to be mentioned. Obviously, he caught the most famous pass in LSU history. And also, speaking of which, left out Demetrius Byrd, Brandon LaFell. There's so many that deserve to be discussed. So, yeah, I just think it's kind of like the running back thing. I just think the top 4 are those guys. I do. Tony Moss. So, Johnny, let me see if I can do this. Defensive end gets complicated because you're coached to do different things. So I guess Tyson Jackson is somewhere on that list. But really, I think Spears and Marquise Hill were better than every non-Arden Key defensive end. Then Chase on is there. But then you get into Mingo Montgomery, who was better. I think both of them were obviously very, very good football players. Lots of coverage sacks, though, for those guys. I really do think so. So, they're in that discussion as well. I would need to list it all out. And look, BJ Ojulari has the potential to pass all of them. I really do think so. Ricky Jean wasn't an end. Kiki, Chase on Hunter. You can't put Daniil Hunter there. Don't let your NFL view of Daniil Hunter get in the way of him as a college player. He was a decent college player. He just, I don't know. We can get into debate about Brick Haley some other time. He also played hurt. Okay. Question above about Devery Henderson, Doug, or okay, here we go. Danielle Hunter is really good. If you want to talk about talents, we can do talents. He's number one, arguably, in it when it comes to just talent. So yeah. Let me answer this one. Michael, I will get to yours in a second. Doug did get it in first. Pause. How did you expect the Denbrock Kellyo to look versus the SEC? The wide receiver talent is better than either have ever had. I agree with that. You got to think they can capitalize on that, right? I think so. I do think they'll open it up a little bit more. I do. Like, as far as the type of offense they're gonna run, will it be a little bit more pro stylish and physical run game and establish a line of scrimmage? Yes, I do, but I do think they're also going to spread it out. I also think they're going to have to, because if they don't get good tight end play, they're going to have to play 10. And I don't think that either one of them want to run 10 personnel for 90% of the snaps, but you might get to that spot. Doug, a lot of it comes out of tight end. You know, who exactly is going to be in that discussion? Jordan, you have been slipping on me. Where have you been, Jordan Jackson? Good to see you again. Top 5 tight ends. Oh, wait, LSU didn't use tight ends. We'll do it. You know, that's probably number 1, but he only played 1 season. Transferred, then redshirted, then played 2019. It's crazy. So outside of that, it's in, Richard Dixon's definitely number 1. Then, let's just say you take Moss out of it. Moss, Dixon, then of course, Foster Moreau is probably number 3. I think Nick Jacobs could have been something, but something happened there. I like Nick Jacobs' talent a lot. Then I guess D'Angelo Peterson. We haven't really been a tight end school. We've had a bunch of good blocking tight ends. Dylan Gordon. Jack Besh. Are you being sarcastic? Okay. I have some Wendell Davis love. Yeah, the defensive end finalists, Key. Man, I don't know if Mingo or Montgomery was better. I mean, I think they were both about the same. They were very similar players. Mingo was faster. I think Montgomery was slightly more productive, but still. But I would probably say Key, Hill, Spears, Jackson, and then Chason. I'd have to list them all out though, and then really get after it. But yeah, one defensive end I really like playing because I was an undersized defensive lineman was I was a big Lewis Neal fan. I was a huge Lewis Neal fan. So yeah. Greg, what's good, man? Every time, Greg. Photo. Look at this excellence in this photo. The lighting, everything. It's just pure, unbridled Tiger Stadium joy. Baby, I ain't going to say hi to the live stream? Are you not going to tell them to come say hi? I'm about to sign off. Tell them to come on and say hi.
Hey, everybody.
No, you get them.
Oh, well, they're eating their dinner.
Well, tell them to come on. Hurry up. I'm about to sign off.
Okay. Can y'all come say hi to Carter real quick? He's about to sign off.
Everyone likes seeing guests.
Yeah, he wants y'all to come on. They want to see you.
Come on. Katie. Babe, if they don't want to do it, do you not want to come on to Laney?
Okay.
Everyone say hi to this is my friend Ruth, and this is Anson. Your hair is fine.
No.
Look at them. Oh my God! What did y'all go to Taco Bell?
No. I've never been in here.
You never? No, you hit with the.
Maybe one time.
There you go. You get another one.
Oh, I need one of them.
There you go.
Okay.
They're new members of the Booger Band. Well, you always rock your Booger Band.
I don't.
So here's my. These are my soon-to-be nieces. Look at them.
Oh, I broke both of mine.
You did? Well, you needed another one. Look at the squad.
Perfect timing.
If you join the PHL T-shirt club, you could be with the squad. Thank you. I'll let you go make quesadillas. We'll hang out in a second.
Wait, let me close the door.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead. Love Delaney. Love Anson. Haley's always happier when they're here. To the Howdy family. Huh? It's always good, man. It's better, to look at two wonderful people instead of my ugly mug for, the full 2 hours. Katie Joe, the Dynasty. Haven't checked on the poll question in a while. This is it. Good poll question. Trey Bradford has a better season than Armani Goodwin. Thank you so much, Dwayne, for the super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, Dwayne. It's perfectly fine to admit that Taco Bell puts out good product. I know look, it shouldn't be like Taco Bell shouldn't be your number one Mexican restaurant. Like, go get like real quesadillas or fajitas or whatever from like actual Mexican establishments. But the simple truth is, I stand Taco Bell. I think Taco Bell's great. I do. Like, if I absolutely needed to eat something. Now, you want to know something funny, Michael? Is Pegasus in here tonight? It's pretty interesting. You know what's funny, Michael, about like the Taco Bell thing is like, when I was a freshman at LSU, okay, so I'll tell you a little story about when I was at LSU. Katie Joe, if you have a question, I know you just jumped in. You can ask anything LSU football related. I stayed in a hall called McVoy Dorm. It was McVoy Dorm, okay, or McVoy Hall. Still on LSU's campus. And my year there was the only year they didn't make it a co-ed dorm, okay? Now, the funny thing about a co-ed dorm is, and Dwayne, I'm going to answer your super chat right after this, is a co-ed dorm has like more security, right? They don't want the boys and the girls and all that to, intertwine per se. But when they made it an all-boys dorm, there was nothing. Like, you didn't have to have a key card. Any kind of sketchy individual could walk in. And it was wild. It was absolutely insanity. I think a golf cart got driven into a wall. 2 different drug operations got busted. It was insane. It was absolute insanity. And what was very interesting was they built a Taco Bell inside of like a recreational center that was 10 yards away from our dorm. Okay. So what was interesting was, like, it's amazing how like everybody, your freshman year, you all get in and you see these people, and then you slowly get to see them start become bigger, right? You see the freshman 15 begin to happen, and myself included. And it was amazing how that metastasized once Taco Bell was put in. And I don't know if I use the word metastasize. I tried to use some big fancy word or whatever. But when the Taco Bell was put in, packed. And what was crazy was the Taco Bell would take your, like if you're a college student, they would take like your key card points. So you could just walk in, Gordito Supreme, just one swipe, boom, you're out. And they kept that stuff hot. That was a high functioning Taco Bell. Boom, 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 boom. Call the cat. I don't know. Let's start with Dwayne Super Chat, and then we'll get to Damien. What do you think the ceiling and basement is for this year's team? Good question. I think like the absolute everything 1 in a million chance 15-0 is the absolute ceiling. They have enough talent to get to that mark if every last thing went their way, right? Like a lot of other players get injured, you catch every lucky bounce. We're not that deep of a team, but all our starters stay healthy. But that's not a reasonable ceiling. LSU's they got enough to have every ball bounce their way, but they're not a 15-0 roster. Okay. It's a 0.0000001% chance of happening. Now, a for real ceiling would be a 2-loss team. And even that is really, really high, right? 11-2 would be an amazing season. But when you think about it, Dwayne, you look back at a lot of LSU's 11-2 teams, there's a lot of really good 11-2 teams at LSU, right? Like think about that J. Russ team in 06 was an 11-2 team. That team, that was young Brandon LaFell, Jamarcus Russell, Dwayne Bowe, Craig Buster Davis, Chase Pittman. I mean, that was really, 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 really good team. We've had a lot of good 11-2 teams, right? With a lot of talent. 11-2 is really hard. So I think a more reasonable ceiling would be 10-3, right? Now, you can look at a lot of different metrics. Cade Ford Ratings has LSU as a 6.5, 7-ish win team. Vegas has them as a 6.5, 7 win team. So if Vegas views, let's just say the over-under right now is at 7. I haven't checked it in a while. Then that means LSU's floor, in theory, would be 5. That's actually what the Action Network has LSU right now, a 5-7 football team. I don't believe it. I don't think they're a 5-win team. I don't. So, yeah. But I think a reasonable finish for LSU this year would be 8-4. I think that's about where they're going to be. Okay? 8-4, 8-5, hopefully a 9-3 season. Okay? Or 9-4 season. This will be the statement by the end of the year. Very possible. Okay? Legacy Dom was in here earlier. He is the JD5 president. Yeah, I could see Miles and Jaden getting the opportunity to win this job. And we shall see. But Nuss was the best quarterback in the spring game. Nuss has the livest arm, I think, out of all of them. So we shall see. I got to say this, Leonard has been one of our higher upside viewers. He believes in LSU more than a lot of us do. A lot of you might agree with Leonard. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Do you believe LSU is a 10-2 team this year? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Hey, you guys got to thank the super chatters here at the end. Okay? Damien and Dwayne and Johnny. Dwayne, Johnny 5, and Damien. Damien thinks LSU's a 10-2 team. Ten and 2 would be amazing, and Brian Kelly would probably be coach of the year. Probably. Okay. All right, SMC, we'll see you on Tuesday for the next live stream. Pierce says it's a 9-win team. Blake wants to keep it going. We'll keep it going. All right, Blake, you get to pick the next topic. Blake, we're going to keep it going. You super chatted, man. If you super chat, we're going to keep this thing moving. Our last live stream ended with somebody super chatting right when I got off. So, Blake, the chat is yours, man. Carl wants to know when I'm coming back to town. I actually was supposed to go today, but I touched on what happened a little bit earlier, so I won't get back into it. But yeah, I appreciate your support, Blake. I really do. And if you want to keep supporting, Patreon. LA Mom, you keep your perfect attendance right here at the end. You have not missed all. Be honest, LA Mom. When was the last live stream you missed? It's been a long time. Change your profile photo back. Your son doing Broadway was the old profile. Now you brought. World Series of Poker going on. I love it. Early D set. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you. 10 and 2 would be something serious. I do think the one thing about 10 and 2, and my camera battery just died. Here's something that we did during the last live stream. I thought it was interesting. You know, like not doing the video thing. I kind of like that. I wanted to show you this photo though. Show you guys this. So make you happy. Let me show you this. I got a message from LA Mom at the end of the last live stream saying, "Hey Carter, I like it when you don't have your avatar up because you're the most hideous human being of all time." And I was like, "Okay, LA Mom, I guess I won't ever put my actual video back up." But this makes me happy. So this is Harold Perkins' uncle, who was a big reason why Harold went to LSU. And I just love this photo. Like, look at that. Harold Perkins. I love the hair. I love the sock and slides, the Gucci slides, baby. And then look at this. You got the gold shirt, purple pants. Harold Perkins rocking the LSU gear. Unc rocking the Pelicans gear. I freaking love it. Look at this. I love Unc. Mr. _ 504. Mr. _ NO 504. God, I love it. And don't forget, if you are a Twitter user, Power Hour LSU, you can always DM me on there. Good stuff. So I kind of like this camera. I kind of like this camera a lot because you can get to see all of my collectibles in the background. It doesn't bokeh out. So you get to see the Jeremy Hill autograph, game worn jersey, and then you get to see these cards back here. I got a Peyton Manning right here, Marcus Colston, Gold Prism. Obviously, these are Tyrann Matthews. Got my Drew Brees card right here, 1 of 1. Kayshawn, Derek Jeter, 3 of my favorite athletes. And then this is Jay Hill, Tyrann. And then another Breeze right there. Some Burrow bobbleheads. This actually right here is my match program for when I got to see Liverpool. Yeah, Leonard, that Ole Miss game is always very tricky. This is the last game, right? That 8th game is always tough. In Alabama, yeah, for sure. Yes and no, Doug. Like, when we get into this, like, shoulda, coulda, woulda, coaching alone cost us a Auburn, Bama, Arkansas. True. But at the same time, Mike Leach made some coaching errors in the Mississippi State game. Then, okay, so let's go to Max's super chat. Carter the Rogaine. So this is the second comment made about my hair tonight. Am I losing hair? Is there something happening? Like, there was a Max from earlier. There was a troll that jumped in and said, "You're losing all your hair," or "What's up with your hair?" Is there something going on with my hair? Is there anything wrong with my hair? I am totally self-conscious about it. I joked about being self-conscious, but Max is like one of my guys. Like, you guys know, every time Max jumps in, he's dropping a $5 super chat. We got to keep this thing going. Max super chat. We're going to keep going. Don't forget, join the Patreon. I know Doug is getting ready to join the Patreon. But coaching alone costs us, Jimbo coached an awful game versus LSU. It makes you laugh, like, how badly he coached that game. B can't recruit LA. I can't wait for the 4th best team in Florida. Yeah, and this gets into, like, the SEC stuff. Blake was on our last live stream, and he and I were discussing this. Man, I can't wait to play Florida. I can't wait, especially now. Like, what makes the Florida game so great, what makes it so great, is that there is for real visceral hatred towards both teams. It's not manufactured. It was very organic. I hate the living you-know-what out of you. If we're being honest here, right? Ole Miss and Mississippi State fans hate each other, but they're in the same state. So, yes, they do hate each other, but there's also some love because a lot of their families are split. Same thing for Alabama, Auburn. Do you really hate each other? They do, but it's different than LSU, Florida, because there's probably not a lot of split LSU, Florida families, right? It is a fan base that hates the other fan base, and it was all organic, right? Now, I'm not saying the other two aren't organic. They are way better rivalries than LSU, Florida. I think Mississippi State, Ole Miss is the best rivalry in the SEC. And honestly, the best rivalry game in college football is Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And get into a debate about it. It's the best. Now, what makes LSU, Florida so great, though, is that it was never intended to be a rivalry. It just happened. It just did. And I love it. Brett, this is a funny comment. I was listening to some Jerry stand up too. And you guys are going to be the first to know. I actually just agreed to start doing stand up again. I just did. I wasn't going to say it on this live stream, but I saw this photo of Jerry, and Jerry's obviously one of the best to ever do it. Yeah, I just agreed to get back on stage. Hadn't been on stage since, October 2021? Was it 2021? No, I think it was. No, it was October 2020 was the last time I've been on stage. The last time I've been on stage. It's crazy. 2 or 3, not good as one. I'm ready to see your Kenny Chesney super chat here in a second. You look good, brother. I'm jealous of guys who can rock that shaved head. Look, I'm a 6'3" ginger with the peanut shaved head and can't pull it off to save my life. Oh man. Brett, I'm awful. I'm awful. I don't know why. But I leave and he keeps calling me back. What's up, Damien? You get to pick the next topic. You guys coming in late with the super chats. We're just going to keep it rolling, baby. Tari, no. Tari, you know you want to keep dropping those $5, baby. Still trying to think about the Rogaine thing. Max, you are my guy. You are my guy. Damien, what do you want to get into, man? Okay, we got to get into this. I do comedy for my girls' friends, so they leave because they bad. Max, I love it. Max says, look, I crack a bunch of really bad jokes just so my girlfriend's friends, man, there's so much we can get into about this. But we'll see. Ohio State will be national champions this year. Actually, I like that play. I like that play. I think this is their year. Obviously, they got Stroud. They got the best non-LSU set of wide receivers in the country. I like it. Ohio State will be national champs this year. I like that play. I just think no one in the Big Ten is close to them. And I do think Alabama having a 2-loss season is a lot more reasonable for a lot of reasons. The first is their offensive line has a lot of questions to be answered. Pelicans Summer League, I've not watched a second of it. That makes me a bad Pelicans fan. Obviously very busy, lots of life stuff happening. So, yeah. Alabama has to be the favorite. That's tough. Ohio State will be national champions this year. I agree. Now, FSU is the 4th best team in Florida. Now, Miami fans talking because we bought Jaylen Brown. The lighting made it look like it had a bald spot. Let me see. What's funny is like my barber was out of town, so I had to go to a different barber. And he actually didn't cut it as short as I normally like to get it cut. So it's interesting that the lighting, it's no different. It's our like normal lighting. Maybe it's the shirt. I'm wearing the old school PHL shirt. If you want the old school PHL shirt, there's a link for it down below. If you want the new school PHL shirt, Leonard, I don't know if you're still in here. I know you got some crazy kids to tend to. Look at that. Look at Leonard. And got all these books, man. God, look at that. Oh, Pelican Summer League is on right now. Well, I'm definitely going to put it on. I got to see our new guys. Who's all playing? Is it Trey Murphy? Is our first round pick looking good? Australian dude? Dyson Daniels? Hey, look at you. Leonard, I want you to be as honest as you possibly can, okay? I really do, Leonard. Okay, I really, really want you to be as honest as you possibly can. Timothy, I like that attitude and that Lakers jersey. I'm not a Lakers fan, but anytime someone rocks a Shaq jersey, I'm down with it, okay? Now, Leonard, how many of these books have you read from back to front? Because those are a lot of books. That is an F ton of books, okay? You might have read all of them. You're one of our smartest viewers. But I'm serious. Front to back, how many of these books have you read? Would you say at least half of them? Would you say all of them? 75% of them? Or is it just like what a lot of the ESPN guys do to make themselves look really great in the background? They have bookshelves and they just put a bunch of big books. You see, I don't do the book thing. I just do cards. Don't got to read too much on the card. Huh? Timothy's not even a Lakers fan. Shaq and Kobe. 3-Ring Circus. I got to read that book. Leonard, I've got to know. I mean, you've been with me for a while. You seen more gray hairs? I'm getting old, Tommy. Second shelf about 90%, 40% of all books. I love it. Leonard, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can with you. Brett, which one do you want? Do you want the old school one or do you want the new one? The new one's really cool. Oh, Tommy, that hot take is not well liked. I think a lot of you would rather. I think a lot of people would rather you say Alabama. I don't think Jimbo's ever going to win the SEC as a play caller. I think he's got to give it up. Brett, shoot me an email, powerhourlsu@gmail.com, and I will get you taken care of. Or you can just follow the instructions down below. Yeah, Brett, a Venmo, Cash App, $40 at Carter the Power. Or you could shoot me an email. Or you could shoot me a Twitter DM at Carter the Power. Or Instagram DM at Carter the Power. Or at Power Hour LSU. Either one. Yeah, I just think it's impossible to read books cover to cover. They're just too long. Now, I'm an Audible guy. Speaking of good books, all right, I'm going to be honest. I'm not reading PHL or Van Lathan's book, but my mother is, and she likes it. And she's a big fan of Van. So, yeah, check out Van Lathan's new book. I have a photo of it up here somewhere. Well, I thought I had a photo of it. Also, shout out to Van. Pretty cool stuff. Gotten to do some cool stuff lately. Sibley, you've not been commenting, but just listening, man. Sibley, I'm not gonna lie. When Charles Alexander started trotting you out, I was like, John Sibley Butler, look at you. I love it. I love you, man. That's so funny. I thought that was so cool. That really was like one of the really cool moments of the live stream. This is actually kind of a funny story here. Tell me why I was in Austin, Texas this past weekend. I had my Devin White jersey. Well, let me ask you this, Timothy. Were you wearing an LSU Devin White jersey, or were you wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers Devin White jersey? Big difference. What's interesting about Devin White jerseys, like there's not a lot of Devin White jerseys. Like a lot of the LSU replicas, there's like a number 7 Fournette jersey or a number 7 Matthew jersey or a number 9 Burrow jersey. Like that's the 3 most popular ones. The good, clean, single-digit number. But the fact that you have a Devin White LSU jersey, hopefully, with the number 40, I love that. I really do. I'm a jersey number snob. I like obscure numbers like 40. Yes. And Leonard, what's funny is like, I knew you were a lawyer. Like, I don't know how people go to law school and read. Like, I don't know how you do it now. Like attention spans being so short. Like my best friend Ahmed, he is still a practicing lawyer in New York City. And he, right out of college, is like one of the smartest guys I've ever met, got a really good job, right? He was making a lot of money. He would have been a annual 6-figure earner in like the private sector. But he, for some reason, wanted to go to law school. And he was my best friend. And I saw like how much reading he had to do. And I was like, why would you leave this to get into this? And he said, I just want to be a lawyer. Just all the reading, like all the knowledge and the bar and all that crap. I don't know how you do it. Dang, it was that Devin White jersey was 140. Dang. Like, was it autograph? Was it game worn? Did we get Collins? Here we go. No, I don't think so, Tevin. I think at this point, LSU might go quarterback less. It could buy you wins. Yeah, it can. If you use the money correctly. Well, Brett, we should be doing a PHL meetup before the game. So be on the lookout for that announcement pretty soon. We're back, Longhorns. Ha, 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 ha. Doug, I couldn't pull off the Jordan. Well, here's the thing. I'm not losing any hair. Like, I'm knock on wood. I just get my hair cut really short. Now, I don't know if my hairline's gone back some. I don't know if the light is just hitting me different. But it could be that I don't have the fancy camera on. La Pavillon for a Sunday game. It's gonna be crazy, man. Big Mac, what's good, man? Good to see you. Good to see you still doing your thing, man. There you go. Lots of fun. So, next few minutes, we will wrap this thing on up. Guys, thank you so much for making this the absolute funnest channel of all time. Now, that is the most random thing I have ever heard. It's funny when you are light skinned like I am, they call. I've gotten a comparison to every light skinned celebrity ever. That's my latest West Weeks film study right there. Ever. All the time. Hey, you know who you remind me of? And I always have a big sigh because I can't believe like I look like this. Charles, you could get compared to Dak. I've gotten Dak before. I have no idea how the Dak. It doesn't make any sense. I get Russell Wilson a lot. Now, if you looked at me, like I'm never like really like standing up, you never get like a full body shot. I'm not nearly as trim as Russell Wilson. I used to be trimmer, and my mannerisms used to be a lot like Russell Wilson. But yeah, I got Russell Wilson a lot. Probably one of the most popular ones. I've gotten Barack Obama a lot. My ex had an Instagram account dedicated to photos of me next to Barack. I don't even know if it's still up. Like I should go look that up. Who's another one? Like, you know, I've never gotten Steph Curry. That's the only one. Yeah, Dwayne, which cards do you want, man? I'll send you some. What cards do you want? Dwayne, you got my email. Just hit me up, man. I'll send you some. Okay, now that's kind of funny. That's actually pretty accurate. Keel and Peels. I've gotten Jordan Peele a lot. And it's funny because like I don't watch movies anymore. I don't watch like full length movies. Like I'm a big Adam Sandler fan. Huge. I still haven't seen Hustle. Adam Sandler's like top 5 actor for me. I'm serious. He's just world class. But I get Jordan Peele a lot. I don't have many Tyler Shelvin cards. I might have one, and I know they exist. I just don't have many. Like There's so many LSU players that have cards. I think I gave away my last Tyler Shelvin card. But Adam Sandler is like just so good. I know that's not like I should be picking like some famous Oscar winner. But the Sandman is just a beast, man. I've seen Uncut Gems 3 times. I love that movie so much. Oh, Max, he'd probably be one of the funnest people to hang out with. Yeah, Dwayne, shoot me an email. I'll send you some stuff for you and the kiddo. Hank Hill. I could kind of see it with the glasses. Oh, man, I could kind of see it. Oh, Michael Blackson. I wish I was half as funny as that guy. Oh, man. Will Ferrell. Yeah, Will Ferrell's funny too. Will Ferrell's funny. I'm also a big Lakeith Stanfield fan. I love me some Lakeith Stanfield. Like, man, he's good. He's really good. Uncut Gems. He's been in a lot of my favorite movies. So my favorite movies of the past 5 years are Uncut Gems and Get Out. And he's in both of those. I love that guy. I think he's so good. Yeah, well, she's that launched her into dating Kanye, Julia Fox. It's kind of funny, like the story behind that. Like they wanted to get a bigger name actress to play the role, but Sandler said, "We have so much chemistry." They had already done the way I read it, they had already done like a few runs of the movie, and Sandman said, "Look, we have great chemistry. I want her to be the person to be in the movie." And, like if you're doing a big movie, they, Renee Zellweger or anybody is going to sell more tickets, right? But I just picked like one random actress. I don't think Renee would do that kind of role, but still. Haven't seen that one. Like, Brad, it's funny. Like, obviously, you're a big Seinfeld fan. So, it is kind of weird. Like, when you see like a lot of your favorite actors do like the more serious roles. Like, let's see. What's an example of this? Like, everyone says, "Hey, Carter, you got to see Kevin Hart in Fatherhood." I'm like, I don't watch many movies, but I guess I got to check this out. And that's one of Kev's. I think that movie came out like 2 years ago or something like that. It's kind of weird, seeing like these really like Steve Carell's done serious stuff. It's kind of I don't know. It's hard for me to make that transition. Me, myself, and Irene. And I've not heard that in a while. Now, Will Ferrell's excellent. I will say this. I don't normally get like too sappy over like the actor desk kind of thing. But James Caan, are you kidding me? This guy, this guy, this guy, man. James Caan was that mother effing dude. Are you kidding me? How freaking good was that guy at acting? Dear Lord, he was freaking good. Like I didn't know until like a year ago, I believe, that the dad from Elf was Sonny Corleone. I swear I didn't know. Swear I didn't know. And I was like, that was James Caan? James Caan was that mother effing dude. That dude was born to do this. It's truly great. It's truly great. I love that man. I loved that man. God, he was so good in Elf and in Godfather. Now, I don't watch a lot of movies. I haven't seen him in any other movies, but I loved him in those two roles. And it could be like his two most famous roles. I know he has like a football movie and he has like a rollerblading movie. He's got like a bunch of different kind of movies. But there you go. Man. James Caan. Bulletproof? I got to check it out. I guess I'm just too basic of a movie fan. Like, I'm not one of those guys that watches my favorite actors in every single movie they make. Right? Tyler, where have you been? All our nuts discussions, all our missed trivia questions. Have I seen Interstellar? No, I've not seen Interstellar. Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey are way over the top for my case. Yeah. They're absurdist actors. A lot of people don't like absurdist comedy. We're talking about Brian Regan like last week. He's an absurdist comedian. Some people don't like absurdists. Jonah Hill. Eddie Murphy Raw. Huh? How about them Tigers? The Rockin' Jumanji. Now that's real comedy. That Jim Carrey and Will Ferrell guy, they don't stand a chance against the Rockin' Jumanji. Oh, Michael V, you know I love you. But I've never seen Guess Who. I've I've heard this movie is like just incredible. Once again, I'm not a what is it? Cinephile? Is that how you say it? I'm not like a super big movie guy. Have I seen a lot of good movies? Yeah. But I just don't watch movies anymore. I don't remember the last full-length movie I've watched. I just don't. Full Metal Jacket. First hour of the movie, legendary. Second hour, I fall asleep. It's such a bizarre film. It really is. Ooh, Tyler. Best movie ever made? The Departed. Man. It's good. I mean, it's really good. It's really, really good. I would say The Departed in front of, as far as like best movies. The equivalent of The Departed would be like, as far as like the hierarchy of great films, would be like Dr. J, right? Is it really, really, really good? Yeah, it's really, really, really good. Is it one of the best movies ever made? Yeah, probably so. But is it top 10. Is it like Godfather level? I don't know. We had 2 random Shawshank Redemptions. Brian's Song and Misery. The other guys. Best non-music movie was Tropic Thunder. Yeah. I haven't really seen Tropic Thunder. I've never seen it. Shawshank's really good. It's just a really good movie. It's up there. Shawshank's up there. But my favorite movies. Okay. I'm a big Leo D fan. If I were to really say who my favorite actor is, he might be that guy. So my 2 favorite movies, Inception and Get Out, are my top 2. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. Christopher Nolan's my favorite director. So yeah, those are my 2 favorite movies. And then, you can get into like Shawshank, Godfather. Godfather's probably number 3 for me. So yeah. Oh, Brett. Now this is a funny story. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the only Nolan that I've not seen. I've seen Prestige. I've seen Memento. I've seen all the Batmans. I've seen Tenet. I don't think Tenet was that good. I thought it was okay. I guess I got to watch it again. There you go. Charles is the second fastest I've seen. Charles Scott. Went to the same school. That's interesting. I like that, Damien. Inception is just the most captivating movie. Like, I remember going to the theater. I went with my buddy Hobie Artigue, and I went with my buddy Jimmy. I remember going to the theater. I still got my ticket from Inception. Man, I freaking loved it, man. I freaking loved it so much. I've seen Inception probably 10 times. It's really good. Memento is probably a better movie than Inception. But yeah, Wolf of Wall Street's good. 7 pounds. Yeah, Inception's just got so many different layers, and you can watch. It makes you want to go watch a movie again. It's just that good. Like, and it's not like I won't get into like spoilers or anything like that, but it's probably the movie that it's probably the movie I watched the most. It really is. Like, man, I loved Get Out though. I freaking loved Get Out. I loved it. I thought every actor in it was perfect. I just love Get Out. Best football movie? Remember the Titans, huh? Or actually Little Giants. Or The Replacements. There's so many good ones. Wolf of Wall Street's really good. But Inception's one of those movies you really have to watch it a bunch. Because there's so many, it's just crazy. Program. So Charles Scott is the second fastest you've seen. You went to the same school. That's crazy. Damien, thank you so much for the super chat. I love your profile photo. I love that smile. Huh? It's good, man. All the super dads of PHL. I'm looking at you right now. Keep doing your thing. I haven't done a super dad check shout out in a while. All right, guys. My nieces have been very patient. So, Batman forever. You and Doug have said like the same thing a few times. The program, and then y'all did Shawshank Redemption. Y'all see this? At the same time, 11:02, 11:02. And then the program. So, here's what we're going to do. I know Max is going to jump on this opportunity. If you want to keep chatting movies, I will be in the Discord. Jared and I will be in there chatting. There you go. Now, we'll get back to LSU football in the chatter. Come on over to the Discord. All you got to do is follow that link. Sign up for the $9.99 tier. And guess what? Get to hang out with me 24/7, 365. That's where I'm going to be chatting with you guys all the time. I know it's kind of a bummer to, whenever we sign off and you want to keep chatting, I'll be chatting over there. Obviously, via text. 3-hour live streams does knock the life out of you. So I'm going to go rest up. You guys, thank you so much. Tomorrow night, we might have a film study drop on Jaylen Brown, so be on the lookout for that, okay? It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! And tonight, I don't know why my nose has been itching so much. Tonight, we got some leftover pizza. Let's get it. Let's go.